I don't always do digital art, but when I do, I make sure to use Adobe Suite programs.
How do people use these programs in advertising? Like, can this be good or bad in terms of issues of race and gender?
Well, look at magazines, look at the TV, look at these model shows that come on. I mean, everything is airbrushed, everything is photoshopped, everything is altered to make the human body look perfect, and that's not realistic. It's just not healthy for our society, but that's the way it is.
How do you think this affects children when they grow up, especially girls, when they see these models who
From childhood, they have to be almost like a robot. I mean, that's where we're headed. We're using these programs and all this new technology to make everyone look perfect. But, you know, we can even genetically engineer babies before they're born. So,
do you think this affects people with issues about their weight, about, anorexia, bulimia, seeing these models airbrushed?
absolutely. I don't see many plus-size models in magazines anymore, or at all, ever, or on TV. But I mean, that's what really the advertising, which I would consider to be false advertising because it's not realistic. It just promotes these fad diets. It promotes, working out and being healthy and losing a lot of weight, whether it be natural or not natural. I mean, for some people, it isn't natural to be a size 2, to be a size 0. I think it affects them emotionally and physically. People got really ill trying to look like these models. And these programs, they're great for a lot of things, but I feel like we've used them in a negative way to portray like the perfect man or the perfect woman.
And because of our success, when the Covenant invaded, we were ready.
Dr. Halsey, you're bending history for your own favor, and you know it. You developed the Spartans to crush human rebellion, not to fight the Covenant.
When one human world after another fell, when my Spartans were all that stood between humanity and extinction, nobody was concerned about why they were originally built.
So you feel in the end your choices were justified.
My work saved the human race.
Melissa, do you play video games a lot?
Not very often. When I do, I should play Mario Kart.
It's a good
Yeah,
game.
it's a good one. My favorite player is Yoshi.
He's awesome. Do you think that there's like any showing of like issues of race and gender and sexuality that show up in video games?
Yeah, I think they sometimes in like Grand Theft Auto, there's really like a lot of stereotypes that play into the characters in the games, like there's like gangs or whatever, and they do things that, like the people that play the games wouldn't typically do, but they do it in the video game.
Do you think that like promotes violence in real life?
I feel like logically one would think that they do, but from studies like on adolescents, it shows that they don't really have an impact on people in real life. Some kids probably let it influence their behavior, but for the most part, it doesn't. And it might a little bit like play up stereotypes.
I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about Chicano art, specifically digital and online art. So this, in general, Chicano art arose from the Chicano movement during the 1960s, which was kind of a fight for civil rights in a difficult time during America's history. And this type of art arose from a need for these people to express themselves, to voice their opinions, and to try to change their social status. Yeah, this was a hard time. You know, you had racism, you had not very many rights for Hispanics, and they were just not treated very well, similar to what African Americans were going through at the time. What I'm going to show you in a few moments will be 3 examples of some visual digital art from Chicano artists that are still around today. Here is a well-known example of a famous Chicano mural in downtown East Los Angeles, and you can see it's making a bold statement that Hispanics are not a minority. In other words, they are not lower than the dominant group that was out to oppress them. And there are many paintings like these in East Los Angeles, which make bold statements, which incorporate Hispanic people, show their history, their culture, and just kind of try to let people know who they are and about their roots. And this particular mural is prominent in different films that take place in East Los Angeles. To conclude that these types of arts, digital, online Chicano arts, they bring the Hispanic community together, much like the visual arts of the past, the murals, the paintings. They express community, and they bring this specific minority community together.
I am about to let you see something I have never shown to another human being, ever in my life. You will have to swear you will not tell anyone. Cross your heart. Do it. My adventure book.
What programs are used to create animated films?
A really popular one is computer-generated imagery, which involves a lot of high-tech computer science and math to make simulations look real.
All right, so there's like a lot of math involved.
Yeah,
So it's not just like, I don't know.
it's not just like some
There's a lot
sketch
of-
thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes behind making them.
A lot, and there's actually something called fractal landscapes where you use mathematical equations to make things such as like a backdrop of mountains look real. So when you think it's something that they might have filmed, it's actually just a bunch of equations being put into a program to make it look real.
That's awesome. All right, so how is like race and gender reflected in animated films?
It's, well, a lot of the times the lead role will be white male who's trying to protect a sort of helpless female. So in terms of race, there are not that many characters of color that have the lead role or the good person role. In terms of gender, there is usually the female's portrayed as helpless and not really doing anything. Yeah.
All right, and then what kind of morals do these children films that are completely animated teach the youth of America?
I think they have good messages these days about, doing the right thing, respecting your elders, things like that. But at the same time, they still show, the gender inequality, the race inequality. So children grow up learning that, the white male is supposed to, do all these things and be the hero. So that way, I think it's a negative way of teaching children.
Hello. Today we are going to be talking about music on the internet, mainly self-publication. There are several ways to publish one's own music online, as opposed to previous decades where recording and releasing an album was extremely expensive and time-consuming and usually needed record label backing. As opposed to previous years where you'd have to book studio time, have all your stuff ready to go, because it's usually about $100 an hour to record on the cheap side. Now, through certain programs that you can get online, you have a recording studio on your computer. Many of these programs are free, such as Fruity Loops or Studio One, that allow you to mix and edit your own music. There are also several websites that allow you to publish your own music once you have recorded these albums. I'm going to talk specifically about Bandcamp and SoundCloud. SoundCloud is more for an amateur, or just if you want to show people things. You can't get any money from it, but you do retain the intellectual properties rights, which is nice. I'm allowed to just record straight from SoundCloud, straight from my phone, and put it straight on the SoundCloud for everybody to listen to. I usually use this for demos and whatnot. The other website is Bandcamp. Bandcamp is a community that allows you to put your records up on your personal website. It gives you a personal website for each one, much like a Facebook or whatnot. That you make from Bandcamp goes straight into your PayPal account. These are very new ways of releasing music, as opposed to old ways where you would have to have an ASCAP and usually a record label backing. Yes. Another way to release music is to make a music video or record live footage and put it on YouTube. Most of the time you do not make any money off of this either, unless you start to get a lot of hits, which is always nice. There are also several ways to stream music, such as Spotify and Groove Shark, where you can listen to other people's music for pretty much free. And that is all the time we have today. Thank you much.